Hey everybody, today we are actually not going to be working on a phone. Today we actually have a PS4 with the HDMI port damaged and pretty bad one. I don't see any traces pulled or anything like that, but go ahead and get underneath the microscope and I will show you what it looks like. Basically just need to replace it. Alright, try to get this in focus for you. There's the port. Beautiful pins all mangled there. And the back side of it. You can see the pins have been pushed out. Maybe if I can get in focus. They've been pushed out. They don't see any traces been pulled or anything like that. I have seen that before. Alright. So let me try to get this in focus for us. What we're going to do here. Focus. Alright, perfect. There's our mess of a mess. I'm going to take some Kapton tape first and just shield plastic stuff off for us. I don't want to melt it, the hot air gun or anything. Alright, the one to the right of us here is pretty much all metal. I think we'll be alright with that one. The first thing I'm going to do, try to push these pins back up in there and get them out of my way. Alright, beautiful. Alright, second thing we're going to do is add a little bit of leaded solder to our pins. So put a little flux on our pins here. It doesn't matter at this point if they get jointed or bridged. We're just putting low melt on them so they will be easier to lift off. Or not low melt, I'm sorry. Leaded solder. Alright, so that's good enough. Let's flip it over. Alright, we're going to do this on our 4 ground pins as well. So the back side here has a plastic, looks like plastic, so let's go ahead and shield that as well. Beautiful. So these pins on the back have that coating. You got to kind of burn through it. could take your X-Acto blade and just kind of scratch it off before you even try that. That might be a better idea, but it usually burns through too. You're going to definitely need a big tip on your soldering iron. You don't necessarily add more heat, but the bigger tip will disperse the heat better. Because these grounds are pretty difficult to liquefy due to the surface area of the ground, the board itself. When you're applying the heat, you're applying it pretty much to the whole board, and it does not liquefy like anything that doesn't have ground on it. So ground is usually harder to get to liquefy. Alright, so I'm kind of anxious to try the hot air gun with these ceramic tweezers and the braid, just to see how it works. Usually I'll have to sit there and keep braiding these things and add in more low melt or leaded solder until you can finally get these holes clean. But I'm anxious to see how this works with this with the ceramic tweezers here. Alright, so let's try it with our braid. Just heating up the braid a little bit first. So as I said, these grounds take a lot to get to liquefy. Come on, suck it up. Okay, I'll be here, thanks. Alright, so I may have gotten that out of camera. Let's see here. I didn't do it 100% as I would have wanted it. Let's try it one more time. I'm going to try to spin this so I don't have to hold it so much and it won't move. That probably would have been a better idea in the first place. Alright, so we did get a decent amount out of there. Not so much up here. We're just going to do it one more time, see if we have better luck now that we got some of the older stuff out. So I'm just putting leaded solder back in these joints here to try to convert whatever remaining solder was there that's not leaded to leaded. Huge old grounds, man. They just take a lot of heat to get them to liquefy. Bigger. Here, I'm gonna try something real fast. Cut me off some solder. Heat to our tin. Yeah, that did a little bit better job there. Alright, so now we are leaded again. I got a new piece of solder wick. Try to pick this, try to get all this solder out of these holes here. Start at the top. I'm gonna go ahead and just cut me some slivers of solder wick here, because when it bunches up, it doesn't do a very good job, it looks like. Okay, so let's put some solder top side here. Try to loosen this top joints up here. So just trying to get our ground pins with the solder that's already on them to loosen up a little bit so we can get this guy out of here without any damage. Alright, let's do the other side. Alright, now I'm going to flip it back over. We're going to put some low melt in there this time. And then we're going to try to just yank it off the board. No, I'm kidding. Try to heat it up and get it off. Once it's off, it's easy to clean. Alright, so this is low melt solder. This is easier to melt, obviously, because it's low melt, and that would allow us to get this off quicker. So I did use low melt on the top as well. What I was just doing on the top, I was using low melt. Alright, at this point, I'll flip it over. And we're gonna heat it up. Use our ceramic tweezers to try to grab it and get it off the board. Voila. Now I have my heat all the way up and my air all the way up on that one. Otherwise you'll be there forever because of the huge ground plane. Alright, let's add some flux. Now our ceramic tweezers and our braid should suck this right up. Seems like the braid does better when it's kind of frayed, like a little bit of frayness, not so straight. I'll try to bow it out a little bit, fray it up a little bit. Yeah, I did better. Just do a little bit of an area at a time and get your heat off the board, and then come back and do a little bit more. Don't just sit there with your hot air gun on it forever. Okay. Let it sit for a second, and we'll try to get the bottom side clean a little bit, and then we'll be good to go to put the new one on. Definitely easier doing it this way than with that iron, in my opinion. Alright, perfect. So while it's warm, let's clean it up with some isopropyl alcohol. Boring part. Also, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and take off the Kapton tape so I can clean up the flux that got underneath of it. It definitely gets under there. It doesn't have to be spotless, people. I just have a tendency to over clean. Cause I'm not a neat freak anyway, but just thorough, I guess. Alright, top side looks good. So, like I said, the flux will travel underneath the Kapton tape. Always does. Alright, so now we have a clean spot to attach our new HDMI port, which I will grab. Alright, so let's just put it in there. Fits like a glove. So what I like to do, and it's kind of hard to do on camera, is first off just let me see if I can do it on face cam here. Okay, so I'm holding the HDMI port on the top side, put some flux on the bottom side. And we need this thing to hold, so what better way to do that than to put some solder on our ground pins, try to get it to hold in place. Make sure you're using even pressure, and at this point you're using leaded solder, definitely not low melt. So I'm just going to put a little bit on there so it'll stay. My finger's getting hot, which usually happens. Alright, so that's good enough. Now let's go back under the scope. Alright, so we got a little bit of solder on each pin. We're going to reflux it. And then we're going to cut a piece of our low melt. God, why do I keep saying low melt? Cut a piece of our leaded solder off and do what we did by applying heat with our iron and then touching it. Here, I'll bring this down. With our leaded solder. Okay, two down. Got a little dark on that one, huh? Looks dark. So we're going to just dabble a little more flux on here and try to touch it one more time. Try to get that solder to merge all the way down, but with it being at ground, it's hard to do because of the huge surface area. definitely as good as that's getting. Now we have our HDMI port in place, and we just need to get our pins connected, and we should be good to go. I'm gonna have to stop recording so I can put this PS4 back together, and then I'll turn the camera back on and show you that we're getting video out the HDMI port. Alright, so we're on top side now. Alright, so you can see there's really no solder that came through the top, which isn't really what we want. We want it to have a little sturdiness up top too. We're going to put some flux there, there. Doesn't really want to melt right there because of the huge ground, as I've said 500 times, but just gotta keep working with it so you can see if you can get some solder to stick there. Now, making the heat hotter on your soldering iron is not going to help that. You would either need to, you probably just need to change the tip to make it bigger, but I'm going to cut a little piece of this leaded solder off here and try to do what we were doing on the bottom by applying heat and then adding some solder to it. Alright, so that seemed to do good. Alright, I gotta do the other side. Anybody watch Game of Thrones last night? Anybody see Jon Snow bang his aunt? Yes, I said bang his aunt. Love that show. Not because they bang ants. Sucks we gotta wait a whole year to watch the rest of it. It's crazy, but that's how they keep doing these shows now, half seasons. Whoever created half seasons, I don't like you. Alright, we are good to go with the solder on the top and bottom. So you can see now our holes on top got solder in them and are attached. So we did have to apply some heat and then take the soldering leaded solder and touch it to our iron as we were applying it to get it to really stick. Okay, so let's get our pins tacked down. flux in there. I will be using the micro pencil on this one. Problem is, anything that's ground is going to be hard to get liquefied because it's so huge, and this micro pencil will probably not get it attached. Things that are not ground, we should be fine. Zoom in. Okay. So what we want is we want a nice ski slope from the pin to the pad. I'm going to try our method of heating the pin and then applying solder. See if we can't get it move along with this process a little bit quicker. Trying to do this in camera is even harder. That's what I was a little bit worried about, is getting too much solder on one pin and getting a bridge. But we can just try to steal some solder off of there and get that bridge free. Use it to solder our other pins. Okay, so there's another method to pins, which we're going to try real fast, which I think is probably going to work better, is we're going to use our tweezers. Okay. This will probably definitely get our bridge completely removed. Yeah, this is a much better method. I don't know why I wasn't doing this in the beginning. Jessa loves her tweezers, and this is one of the ways she taught me. This is also a really good way to get those nice ski slopes. Alright, so all we got to do is add a little bit more solder to my tweezers, pinch them together, and just kind of add a little solder. Got another bridge we will get rid of. So once you get rid of the solder off your tweezers, that's when you can get rid of your bridges. It just literally just grabs it and separates it. It works really well. See? Now we have nice ski slopes on the end of our pins. Beautiful way to do the pins. Tweezers. These are the Hacko tweezers. Alright, I think we're good. Let me clean it up. See how pretty our pins look? Sometimes the micro pencil is not the best way to go, and those tweezers kick butt on that one. Now, I'm not going to say I love the tweezers on everything else, that's for sure, but that was an awesome job on those pins with those tweezers. Okay, got beautiful ski slopes, nice and shiny. It's a robust connection, and I have no problem sending it out like that, that's for sure. Okay, so let's take one last look at our finished product here. Try to zoom out as much as possible. Okay, our sides. The back of it. And the inside of it. Too close, too close, too close. Alright, so that's an HDMI part replacement. And I'm going to put it all back together and we're going to fire it up and see if we got video. So, me a couple minutes and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got it all put back together. It's hooked up to my TV over there. We've got video and all is good. So pretty much that's all that is required for the PS4 HDMI port. Doesn't take too long. I mean, it takes a little bit of time to take the PS4 apart and put it back together, but if I'm not sitting here doing a video, I could probably knock it out within 25-30 minutes. So if you're interested in a PS4 HDMI port, we do that as well, obviously, and you can leave me a comment and we can get together and try to get yours fixed. If you have any questions, like and subscribe. See you guys next time.